Hello beautiful beings, welcome back to my channel. We are still on At Your Command by Neville Goddard. I read this book when I was narrating it a few weeks back. I have read this book several times before. As I've mentioned before, this is one of my favorite from Neville. There's so many good little bits and pieces, so good, so much information that you can get out of this just one book. And I bring you the grasshopper story, how to knock them off the pedestal. It's all about your self-concept. So I'm gonna read you the grasshopper portion and then a few other one-liners that he mentions that are so relevant to this. And if you have this book, this is on page 15. And it says, begin to revalue yourself. Man has placed too little value upon himself. In the book of Numbers, you will read, in that day there were giants in the land, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and we were in their sight as grasshoppers. This does not mean a time in the dim past when man had the stature of giants. Today is the day, the eternal now, when conditions round about you have attained the appearance of giants. Let me read that again. The eternal now, when conditions round about you have attained the appearance of giants, such as unemployment, wars, your problems, and all things that seem to threaten you. Those are the giants that make you feel yourself to be a grasshopper. But you are told, you were first in your own sight a grasshopper. And because of this, you were to the giants a grasshopper. In other words, you can only be to others what you are first to yourself. Isn't that like mind-blowing? I remember when I first read the grasshopper story, I was a little confused. I had to read it a few times. So just in case you guys don't know, a grasshopper is a very small insect, and then giants, you already know what giants are. So what he's saying here, that because of our own small self-concept, we seem to always put everything as giants. It could be our specific person, it could be our job, it could be our employment. Whatever circumstances in your life, you usually see them as bigger than you are. So you have to start to revalue yourself and make yourself bigger than your problem. When you revalue yourself, when you change your self-concept to match who you really are, because we're not creating this persona. We have to understand the God within. We are full power. God is within ourselves, the universe, whatever you might want to call it, divinity. There is a greater power, and that greater power is within us. So we have to revalue ourselves to acknowledge the fact that we are bigger than whatever circumstances are going on in our lives. So let me read a little bit more, a few other sentences. And it says, the only way to change your expressions of life is to change your consciousness. For consciousness is the reality that eternally solidifies itself in the things round about you. Man's world in its every detail is his consciousness outpictured. You can no more change your environment or your world by destroying things that you can your reflection by destroying the mirror. Your environment and all within it reflects that which you are in consciousness. What does that mean? It means, once again, no one to change but self. No one to change but self. Let me say it again. No one to change but self. Your current circumstances are just outpicturings of your self-concept. When you change your self-concept, when you change your beliefs about yourself, about who you are, about what you deserve, when you change that, your 3D manifestation will change, because we live in a belief-based universe. It's a law. You change your beliefs, you change your concept, consciousness, your 3D will change. And I think this is so powerful for people that have gone through so much in their life. When you feel like these were the cards that you were given, like, what have I done to deserve me getting all of these bad things in my life? This is wonderful news, because this allows you to move from victim mentality to being the full creator of your reality, to taking full ownership of your life, of your world, taking full accountability about what it is that you want to manifest or not. You're always manifesting, no matter what. You're always out picturing, always, nonstop, out picturing your consciousness. So when you are manifesting bad circumstances, you only have to change your consciousness for it to reflect back to you. Does it take some time? It can, because there is a delay, right? Change is immediate on the 4D, 5D dimension. It's immediate. But on the 3D reality, it takes some time to catch up. So when you start to do this work and you start to reprogram your subconscious mind, you start to reprogram, revalue yourself, you start to change your self-concept, you start to accept the fact that you are good enough and that you're worthy and worth it. You might still see some shit hit the fan. That's why you have to constantly remind yourself that you're the creator of your reality, that this is a universal law that does not change, does not individualize anybody. It will not just work for me and not for you. It has to also work for you. You have to remember, constantly remember, that it will change. It will change. It has to change. It has no other option but to change, because that is the world, that is the universe that we live in. I'm gonna read this again, because I think it's just so powerful. The only way to change your expressions are your manifestations. Your expressions is your 3D reality. The only way to change your expressions of life is to change your consciousness. For consciousness is the reality that eternally solidifies itself in the things around you. Consciousness is the reality that eternally, what does eternally means? Always, constant, forevermore. Eternally solidifies itself in the things around you. Your consciousness is always out picturing. It doesn't stop. Man's world in its every detail is his consciousness out pictured. You can do no more change your environment or world by destroying things that you can your reflection by destroying the mirror. Your environment and all within it reflect that which you are in consciousness. Change your consciousness, your reality changes. Change your consciousness, your circumstances change. Simple. It takes work though to put it into a daily habit. But I think the most important, and I would say maybe the hardest thing in this whole process, is understanding that you can have what you want, that you can change your life for the better, and that you are divine. If not, that will be the biggest one. How many times have we felt so small next to some of our problems? How many times have we felt desperation, fear? And fear is the opposite of love. So when we feel fear, it leads to anger and all of these other emotions. How many times have we felt that? Because we didn't really understood that we could fulfill our own needs ourselves, and that by doing so, everything else will be given to us. So that is today's lesson. I like the idea of narrating the book and then creating videos talking about the book. I'm going to try to link my video above. If not, I'm going to link it in the subscription box below so that you listen to the book, even if you put it in the background while you're doing something else. Your subconscious is always listening. The more that you submerge yourself in this information, the more that your mind starts to open, the more that you start to see more options available for you. And as always, I'm here. Leave me a comment below. What do you want to watch? What did you like about this video? A reminder, I do offer coaching. I specialize in working with people that have trauma, just because I myself come from a lot of trauma, a lot of childhood trauma, and I know that it can be quite a journey, and it could be quite a painful journey, a lonely journey. So now that I have come through to the other side, I think it's kind of like my dharma to be able to help other people overcome the same things. So I do coaching. You don't have to have any trauma to do coaching with me, but I'm just saying that's kind of like one of those specialties that I'm working on. And if you want more information, my email is in the description box below. And until next time, bye.